Hey friends, how y'all doing? Hope you are doing well. My name is Jesse Hughes, and I'm so happy, so thankful that you all came to look at another video that I'm doing. Before I do anything, before I say anything, I want to tell you all that this video will be a video that is for a mature audience. This is a video that is viewer discretion is advised, meaning that if you don't have kids that's looking at this video, if you have someone that is immature between 15 and under, it is good to advise them that not to look at this video, for it is something that will be of mature audience only. And this video, I will not be talking about love. I will not be talking about sex. I will not be talking about relationships. But what I will be talking about is something that is plaguing not only America, but something that is plaguing the world in general. And that has to do with suicide, has to do with people taking their lives, people that is giving up their lives, giving up on their hopes and dreams, and just taking their lives by intentionally harming themselves. So I will be talking today, or talking tonight, about suicide as it pertains to us as black, as it pertains to Caucasian, as it pertains to old and young people, something that is very needful, something that is very important, that we all are faced with it. We are faced with suicide as it pertains to us. It might not be directly us, it might not be us feeling that way, or us having suicidal ideations, but it pertains to us as it pertains to our family. Some of us have had friends, some of us have had loved ones to take their lives, have threatened to take their lives. So hopefully I can say something that will encourage you, that will help us to go on further and let us know the traits, let us know the characteristics of people that is threatening to get rid of their life, threatening to commit suicide. For it is something, like I said, that a lot of us has faced. We have faced it directly, we have faced it indirectly, but it is good and important that we don't just sit back and just take the threats, take the conversations of suicide lightly, for it is not something that we can take lightly. For suicide has been plaguing America, has been plaguing us for the last 2, 3, 4 years in a great way. A lot of us has had people that have committed suicide, and we can't sit back in the long and say, well, it is just for the black, it is just for the white, it's for the young, old, it's for the rich or poor. But suicide has plagued us as it pertains to everybody. We can't say, well, if suicide is just a financial issue, or suicide is just an issue that pertains to a certain ethnicity, a certain culture. But suicide has been going rampant as it pertains to us in general. So today I will be talking about suicide. I'll be talking about, what suicide is, and the traits and the characteristic that you can look for as it pertains to suicide, as it pertains to someone that is wanting to give themselves, take their lives, to take other people's lives. And I can easily say, when it comes to scripture, that I'm very scripturally astute, because I did plenty of study that pertains to scripture. But when it comes to suicide is something that you can't really preach it out. You can't really say, well, this scripture says this, or this scripture says that. But the way that you can get rid of suicide, one of the ways that you can get rid of it is by not only communications, communicating with that person that might have suicidal thought or suicidal ideations. Another way that you can get rid of help with suicide is give somebody psychiatric, it's mental help, because suicide is a mental disorder. So it has to do with depression, it has to do with bipolar, it has to do with schizophrenia, it has to do with Neolithic beliefs, beliefs that your life is not worth anything. So suicide has a tendency to engulf in all of those things. We can't say any longer that people that is in the church that they don't have suicidal thoughts, that they don't have thoughts of getting rid of their lives. But when you look at this COVID pandemic, with the pandemic of the wars, a lot of people is regretting or falling back on getting rid of their lives, taking their lives, because of all of the pressure, all of the issues that are taking place, not only in their lives, but all they hear of bad, all they hear of depressed people, all they hear of killings and murders and stealing. So that would cause the person to be depressed, that would cause the person to get rid of their lives because they can't take all of the stress, all of the pressure any longer. So, and some people will begin to take their lives. And not only that, when we look at suicide, suicide is something that maybe 20, 30 years ago, it was only one ethnicity that did a lot of the killing, that did a lot of the taking their lives. But when you look at suicide in this day and time, suicide is not just for one ethnicity. We look at the blacks, they're committing suicide. We look at Caucasians, they're committing suicide. We look at the young people, they're committing suicide at an alarming rate. We look at old people that they're committing suicide. And when you look at a lot of times, it's not just a financial issue that causes a person to want to get rid of their lives, take their lives, you know. But it has to do with a lot of different areas. And we can't preach it out, like I said. We can't say, well, you go to church and this and that. Because although God is the best answer for someone that is trying to commit suicide, some people that have ideation of suicide, but you got to get to the point. Sometimes you got to get a person some psychiatric help. You got to get a person some help as it pertains to psychology, psychiatry, as it pertains to mental disorder. For you can't say that you're trying to commit suicide if you're not depressed, if you don't have some type of disorder that is going on mentally in your mind. So it is important and imperative that we as people, we don't just sit back and listen to somebody say, well, I'm thinking about taking my life, and say, well, you know, he just saying that. Now, I've always been taught that, you know, if a person threatens to do something, don't take it lightly. So if a person that is threatening to take their lives, threatening to get rid of their lives, it is important that we don't just sit back and say, well, they just bluffing, or they just saying this and saying that. You never want to take those types of threats, those types of getting rid of their lives as something to say, well, they just saying that. Because you can never get to that point, because you might say, well, they just saying that today, and then tomorrow they're in their lives. Then we are with the regret of, I should have listened to him. I should have listened to her. I should have listened to that person that said that they want to take their lives. But when a person is trying to, talking about committing suicide, talking about getting rid of their lives, take it, don't just take it for granted, but take it as very important to say, I got to get this person some help. I got to get that person some help. They might be depressed, but I've got to get them some psychiatric help. I got to get them some mental disorder help. I got to get them some religious help, because religion plays a very important part in somebody that is thinking about committing suicide, but that is not the only thing that helps a person get out of their suicidal ideation, their suicidal thoughts. And when you look at suicide, suicide has to do with, you know, like I said, it has to do with bipolar, it has to do with schizophrenia, it has to do with depression, it has to do with Neolithic beliefs and all those things. But also when you look at statistically, it has been stated that when it comes to committing suicide, or talking about or trying to commit suicide, the young teenage girls has been at a high rate of trying to commit suicide. They are flooding the ER zone. They're flooding the hospital with taking their lives. You know, they're talking about taking their lives. But although the young girls are talking about taking their lives, you know, taking their life with drugs, taking their life with pills, taking their life, you know, with weapons or whatever. But it's a more alarming statistic says although girls are threatening to take their lives more, the boys, the young teenage boys, the young boys between 15 and 34 are taking their lives more than the young girls that's saying they're taking their lives. Why? Because the boys have get their weapons off the streets. The boys are out there doing certain things with guns and weapons. So they have access more to weapons than the young females do. So although the girls are threatening their lives more, the boys are taking their lives more as it pertains to suicide, as it pertains to them getting rid of their lives. It has been stated that the second leading cause of death as it pertains to teenagers, as it pertains to 15 to 34-year-old people, as being suicide. Suicide is the second leading death as it pertains to that, although you have drug abuse and have all those different types of things. But we see that a lot of kids in this day and time are taking their lives. Why are they taking their lives? Because some of the times the young boys, their voices are changed, they're having certain biological changes in their body, in their mind. So they're not able to fit, how can I overcome this? How can I deal with this? Therefore, it is becoming stressful to them. It's becoming very, heavy on their mind. So they say, well, the best way that I can do with this, I can take my life. I can get rid of my life. So when it comes to suicide, when it comes to people taking their lives, we can never get to the point with our children. We can never get to the point with teenagers. We can't even get to the point when it comes to middle-aged people and saying, well, they're saying they're going to take their lives. But actually it has been stated that 47% of the people in the middle age that said that they would take their life, they would take their life. And it's not just Caucasians doing it now. It is not just the Latino, it's not just the Native American that's taking their life, but it's African Americans, everybody that are taking their lives. So we can never get to the point now and say, well, suicide is just something that just happens. Suicide is just people that are making, writing blank checks that they're not going to cash in. But when it comes to suicide, when it comes to teenage suicide, when it comes to middle-aged suicide, when it comes to all the different types of suicide, we can never get to the point and say, well, it is just something that they are saying. Now, a lot of people are committing suicide because, not just because of ethnicity, but a lot of people are committing suicide because they're being bombarded with bullying. They're being bombarded with, sexual orientation. Well, this person said, I'm going to change my sexual orientation. I'm going to, although I was a male, I'm going to become a female. I want to become a female, or vice versa. People that is, and they will begin to see people that are harming them, people that is ridiculing them, people that is talking about them, people that is bullying them because of their sexual identity. Now they say, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to commit suicide because this is something that I can't take. I can't take people talking about me. I can't take people, lying on me and saying, well, this person is crazy. This person has a mental problem because they want to change who they are. Therefore, sexual orientation plays an important part when it comes to suicide. When it comes to suicide, it has to do with bullying people, bullying other people, so they can't handle the situation, so they will commit suicide. They will take their lives. That's why a lot of times when it comes to suicide, we just can't sit back and say, well, it is just this person or this type of the group person that is taking their lives or trying to take their lives. But suicide plays a very important part with everybody. Everybody, whether it be black, white, red, yellow, whether it be rich or poor, whether it be the heavy set or whether it be the slims or whether it be the old or young, whatever the case is, people are committing suicide at an alarming rate. And we that are not thinking about suicide, are not thinking about taking our lives, we got to listen to the cry of the people that's saying that they're going to commit suicide, saying that they're going to get rid of their lives. We just can't sit back in a longer and say, well, it is something that they're just talking. But let us listen to what everybody's saying. If somebody's saying that they are tired of living, they're tired of, of living on this earth, that they got to find a better way out, that they need to, you will miss me, or you will listen to me when I'm gone, or something like that. You should never get to the point to say, well, they're just saying that. But when it comes to suicide, when it comes to teenage suicide, when it comes to middle age, when it comes to the sexual people that have sexual identity problems, when it comes to every different thing, listen to what people are saying. Listen to their problem. Listen to what they're going through and say, although you want to commit suicide, although you want to end your life, I can give you a better way. I can give you better hope. And it is not just Jesus Christ that I can give you, but I can give you some help when it comes to psychiatric help, when it comes to mental disorders. And I want to let you all know that regardless of what people are going through, they might be going through, wanting to commit suicide, want to end their lives. Don't just sit back and say, well, it is something that they're just talking. But listen to what they're saying. Listen to their heart. Listen to their mind. Listen to what they're going through. And I promise you that if you listen to them, there's a cry that they're dealing with. They're dealing with a lot of different things. Therefore, we've got to get to the point where I'm going to listen to your cry. I'm going to listen to you because I am your friend. I am your family member. I love you, and don't just commit suicide, but let me be there for you. Let me be your shoulder. Let me be somebody that will be there to listen to all the cries of you. And I will be your friend that will stay there. And I will not only stay there, I will listen to all of your cries and all of your aches and your pains. So I hope that I said something that will, stick with you, to let you all know that regardless of people might be trying to commit suicide or talking about suicide, let's be there for them. Let's be the shoulder. Let's be the ear. Let's get them some help, because we don't want to ever get to the point where this person told us they were going to commit suicide and we turned a deaf ear, we turned a blind eye to it. So let's help people that is going through suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, and let us be there for them. And not only be there for them, I hope that I said something that will encourage. Hopefully I said something that will strengthen you all. Let's be there for people that is going through. And not only be there for people, I hope that I said something, and that hopefully I can say something more that you will, find pleasant, find good to listen to. So until this time, next time, please like, please subscribe, please give me a comment and say, Jesse, I enjoyed what you said when it pertains to suicide, as it pertains to our kids, as it pertains to our loved ones, and we will help them get across to the other side. So until this time, next time, I want to say God bless you, and God bless you.